Good morning, students of BA Part 2 English Literature. So, we are today going to again do a poem from Paper 1, Section B, and we have already completed most of the poems from Section A, which comprises of poems from British writers and poets, and Section B deals mainly with the poems in English translation by Indian writers. And today we are going to study another poem by Nissim Ezekiel, and we have already done, as you would remember, the poem by Nissim Ezekiel, The Night of the Scorpion, which was a long narrative poem describing a village scene where we find that how a Scorpio bites a lady in the village, and how the farmers and the superstitions concerned with the act of Scorpio bite, how they are treated, and the various features and nuances of a village life are evoked in the poem by Nissim Ezekiel. So today we are going to study another of his poem entitled Enterprise. So let's find out what is there in this poem. And before we move on, just to remind you again about Nissim Ezekiel, that he is an Indian Jewish poet, and he's also a playwright, actor, and critic, and often regarded as the father of modern Indian English poetry. He studied in Mumbai and also in London, and his best known books include Time to Change, The Discovery of India, The Unfinished Man, Hymns in Darkness, and later day Psalms. So, it is advisable that whenever you study a particular writer's work, you need to also know his various other uh, writings, so that you get to know about his kind of writing style, and his the milieu of social and the political milieu in which he writes. So Nissim Ezekiel also received the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1983 and Padam Shri in 1988. So let us first read this poem by Nissim Ezekiel, Enterprise. The poet begins. It's again a very also a narrative poem, and the poet talks about a pilgrimage here. Pilgrimage is a journey which you take for a particular purpose, normally which is a religious purpose, and people normally, when they attain a particular age, they want to renunciate or leave the worldly pleasures and want to take a move towards the uh, godly and religious path. So let us find out what is there in this enterprise. And enterprise also indicates a kind of venture. When you take some project or you begin some work which has a important goal, then that's an enterprise. It's a planned project which you take up. So it started as a pilgrimage. So whatever this journey is, it started as a pilgrimage. That means it had a very high elevated goal as of a religious journey, exalting minds and making all the burdens light. So whenever this, you can relate with anything which you want to begin, maybe your career, or when you want to people who want to take a big goal, for example the sports people, or who begin their first do their first nationals, play their nationals. So this is something, or when they prepare for this. In this poem also, the poet talks about some kind of an enterprise, and exalting minds means the minds were elevated, they were very excited, and making all the burdens light. So whenever we take an adventurous trip, all the burdens, all the fears about that, they become light. The second stage, explode but did not test the call. So what is the second stage of this journey? They did explore the things but did not test the call. The sun did not test the call means that they were not tested upon for the difficulties in the journey. There were not such difficulties. The sun beat down to match our rage. So this talks about the physical problems which come along. The rage here talks about the passion. We stood it very well, I thought, observed and put down copious notes on things the peasants sold and bought. So the important observations were written down. The way of serpents and of goats. So all the activities which they saw during the journey were noted down. 3 cities where a sage had taught, but when the differences arose on how to cross a desert patch, we lost a friend whose stylish prose was quite the best of all our batch. So in this we find that how this happens, and or how to cross a desert.